Hey guys, Nick here, and welcome to the Omniverse of Nick, and part 3 to What If Frieza Turned Good. Now, before we get into today's part, be sure to smash the like button, subscribe to the Omniverse of Nick, and further acknowledge and support the future of the Omniverse by checking out the Discord, Patreon, and Google Doc on the home page/bio, and commenting future requests and what ifs in the comments section. With all that said, let's begin today's part. We ended off with Vegeta stepping into, ironically and very, and I can't stress this enough, very begrudgingly help Frieza and Goku, who are crippled and on their last verges of limit breaking strength, against King Cold, who's still managing through his fourth and 100% power without true crippling damage. But he is showing signs of slight weakness, especially now that Vegeta has demonstrated the fury of Frieza teaming with Goku and all that Frieza did, making him become a Super Saiyan. Now we see if the three of them can stop King Cold together. But first, there's three things you guys gotta know. Number one, King Cold has been fighting this entire time through all of his forms, and he is retired. Oh, sure. He has, at this point, strength that could rival best and even get to the likes of first and semi-perfect Cell. But the retired and weakened version of the forms he's using aren't practiced enough like Frieza. So, that means that while he is still way strong enough to be able to throw every one of those three, especially Frieza and Goku, again, crippled, around like rag dolls, that doesn't mean that his own exhaustion and overcompensating his body won't cut back to him during the battle without him even realizing it. But for now, he's pretty much dominating, especially even with Vegeta. Number two, Goku and Frieza have been fighting the most this entire time, and they're lucky to even be in Kaioken and 100%. But the only reason Frieza is because he maximized his 100%. And the only reason Goku is because he's mother freaking Goku. So why wouldn't he? And number three, yes, Vegeta is a Super Saiyan. Keep in mind, though, this is 3 years before his canon transformation. And number two, he has just unlocked the transformation. So, what that means is Super Saiyan Vegeta is the strongest out of Goku and Frieza, but he is far from being maximized with the Super Saiyan form enough like the Android Saga to be able to use it to its full capacity without understanding, like Goku did, kind of, because he could retransform back into it, the full implications of the form. But overall, next to King Cold, Vegeta is the next strongest in this on this planet. So he rushes along with Goku powering to his highest Kaioken and Frieza his 100% still with his dual discs, which he takes again from the fight on Namek and uses as a beneficial weapon to help him maybe kill his father. But King Cold proves he's still far too strong for them to stop. Oh, sure, Super Saiyan Vegeta's given them a legs up, and King Cold's finally starting to show exhaustion. But it's not enough. Even with Vegeta's add-on, Vegeta ends up on the ground, blown out of energy from Super Saiyan and crippled on the ground. Goku has lost all forms of energy, and the Kaioken overusage doesn't help. And plus the fact he got right on the cusp of grade 2, so Goku's done. He's not dead, but he's done. Frieza, though, surprisingly, because of his massive freaking durability, is knelt on the ground, staring up for the second time at his father. But King Cold is done at this point. Sure, Vegeta might have saved their lives, but all it really did, besides showing another flashy blonde form, was showing that not only is the Super Saiyan form no longer a threat to the Frost Tyrant clan, but so is his son being a disgrace to it. So not only is King Cold going to show his son how to properly exterminate one Saiyan, but he's going to exterminate two and then find the planet that they came from. Then he'll blow up that planet? Who knows? Maybe even blow up all surrounding ones with life, just to make sure there is no one that can possibly dishonor or disregard the Frost Tyrant clan ever again. And King Cold's biggest mistake, he says to Frieza, was allowing his son to become emperor. And that's the last thing he'll regret before he dies. And King Cold's just about to deliver the final punishment to all three of them. But something then happens that literally one comes out of nowhere and shocks every single person on the planet. Yardrat's not so much, because again, hiding, but everyone, mainly Frieza, who's conscious, King Cold is split in half. Just a single slash. And then we see him sliced in half and his body fall on the ground. And then we see who it is. A man with a sword, a Capsule Corp logo on his jacket, and blonde hair and blue eyes. A Super Saiyan! And we know this to be Trunks. Now, you guys are probably asking, why would Trunks be on Yardrat? Simple. Because the big, huge powers were enough for Vegeta to detect them from space. And since this would probably be around the same time that King Cold and Mecha Frieza would be going on the planet Earth, except maybe just a tiny little bit sooner, Trunks, by the time he would be going in the time machine and get to the place, that would be around whenever Vegeta arrives on Yardrat. So, Trunks would sense these humongous powers, and since there's no King Cold and Frieza on Earth, and everything, and sensing these powers, probably the time machine, him sensing it from even before he lands, depending on how the time machine, fluctuates through the space-time continuum, he would be able to sense this and know that since his father, Goku, and Frieza and King Cold are all on the planet, he has to go there. Because he can't just stay on Earth. What would be the point in that? And honestly, it would be a tiny bit more complex to put him in the story if he just was randomly on Earth just waiting for them. Especially if it's around the canon time, he'd probably just leave. And it wouldn't really be an awesome inclusion of Trunks. You guys are really going to like this. But as soon as he slices King Cold, Frieza sees this and he's utterly shocked at this because he's the only one really conscious, and this kid came out of nowhere, and he knows by this point a third Super Saiyan. But before he can question this kid for literally saving their lives, Trunks looks square with basically murderous intent at Frieza, draws his sword, and angrily he says, "You're next, Frieza." And he launches up into the air and is prepared to do the same thing in canon and my Super Saiyan Vegeta story and cut Frieza into bits and pieces. But someone stops him. Goku, with every fiber of his strength, this time busting his body for real, turns Super Saiyan and blocks the blade, but then immediately drops out, falls backwards, and almost fully collapses before Frieza helps him. And Trunks turns back, and he's still holding the sword, and angrily asks Goku, why is he helping Frieza? Why are they on this planet? Who was that guy that he just sliced? Was that King Cold? Goku then angrily explains everything and says that Trunks just saved their lives. And Frieza, he wasn't fighting him or Vegeta, he was helping them. Trunks is very perplexed by this because not only does King Cold look different, but Frieza's helping him and his father, and they're not on Earth, and Frieza's not in a mecha body. But before Trunks can even bother to ask questions or state the reason he's here, King Cold, in his half body, blasts at Trunks. And yes, Trunks is very much injured here, but he's able to use his sword as more or less a defense, but he wasn't able to turn Super Saiyan. So Trunks is standing, but he's pretty freaking injured. And you might be wondering, how could King Cold do this? Because he was retired, and a single shot through his chest put him down. Yes, but this is a Frieza story for one. Two, I'm giving King Cold the time to shine. And three, come on, Frieza got cut in half and could blast. We can do that to King Cold. King Cold looks down at Trunks, saying that, another Saiyan. Looks like I really am going to have to destroy everything to make sure the Frost Tyrant clan never falls out of power. You made a big mistake interfering, just like Vegeta over there. But don't worry, you'll join him in hell. But before he can blast, he's once again stopped, this time forever. A single, huge death beam rings out, and it hits King Cold straight through the head. Yeah, he's not living this time. It's through the brain. And King Cold falls to the ground. This time, fully dead. And the death beam came from Frieza, the last little bit of his strength. And Trunks looks on, and he's still so confused. Why would Frieza help Goku and Vegeta? Why are they on this planet? Why was Frieza not in a mecha body, even though he probably wouldn't disclose this because, time discrepancies? And why was King Cold not a giant in his, the form he knew about? And at this point, Master Pubara and the Yardratians have come out and thank Trunks profusely for saving all of them and Planet Yardred. And he explains that Frieza's not a threat and that Goku is right. And they would explain everything to Trunks, while Trunks wouldn't say too much or blow away too much because his father's here and he still doesn't trust Frieza, and the fact that all of this is really boggling him down. It's freaking time travel. But Trunks cuts straight to the point, literally, and begins to talk to Goku after all of them get healed. Meanwhile, Vegeta looks daggers at Frieza and says that I could have killed you with my new power as a Super Saiyan, but I have to admit one thing. If you or Kakarot were going to kill each other, you'd have done so on Namek. Frieza smirks and says, yes, that's true. And now Vegeta knows everything. Frieza's actually surprised that Vegeta became a Super Saiyan. And honestly, he thought that he never would. But, to be fair, at least Vegeta tried to become a Super Saiyan, whereas Frieza had to force Goku to ironically and accidentally become one. Vegeta starts to get angry at this seemingly tone of mockery from his old boss, but he smiles, knowing that at least he actually tried, unlike Kakarot, to become a Super Saiyan. So he tells Frieza that they're nowhere close to friends, but at least Frieza, he doesn't have to worry about Vegeta coming after him for now. Or this or Frieza coming after them. But he hopes Frieza knows that Vegeta, he still doesn't care a smidge for Frieza, and if it were up to him, he would have killed him back on Namek. But Frieza smiles and says he wouldn't have it any other way coming from the prince. Trunks, once again, is still talking to Goku and explains about the androids and 3 years' time, about Vegeta and Bulma and why he didn't say it in front of Vegeta. And there's no Piccolo to hear everything that's going on, so it's just Goku. And possibly some Yardratians, but, eh. And then gives Goku the heart virus medicine. And then he sheathes his sword again around Frieza, still not trusting him, looking daggers, and is prepared to leave. But Frieza offers his hand, and he wants to thank Trunks for killing his father and helping them. And he never thought that he would see one Super Saiyan, let alone two, but a third? He has honestly earned Frieza's true respect, especially with the hands of a blade. Trunks is very surprised that someone like who he had heard about from Frieza is being so genuine and nice to him, and smiles, saying that he wished he could, but all of him wants to say that Frieza's not trustworthy yet. But he'll be back in 3 years' time, and if Frieza truly is good, he'll have no problem being friends. But he wants Frieza to promise that he'll help Goku, Vegeta, and everyone defeat these androids. Maybe then Trunks will actually not be so, perturbed at to wanting to slice him, because he was close. Goku honestly saved him. But with that, Trunks just smirks and, nods a simple gesture saying that he doesn't hate Frieza, but, still thinking about slicing and dicing him. Then he leaves in his time machine. Goku then says it's time for them to return, tell everyone what's going on, and prepare for the androids. But they can only do it if they work together. No more old boss stuff, no grudges. They all have to work together. Vegeta, he's so mad at this, and honestly, he did just talk to Frieza, but hearing come from Kakarot's fueled a little bit of anger within him. But he's like, you know what? Fine. And they all begin to head back to Earth. So Goku, Vegeta, and Frieza take the ship that Goku and Frieza came in, now that it's repaired by the Yardratians, and prepare to head to Earth. When they get there, how will all the others react to Frieza being alive and with Goku and Vegeta and everything? And with them not meeting Trunks and having to be told by Goku, Vegeta, and Frieza about the androids, will they train as hard? Will they need to? Or with Frieza around, will this be a washout for the androids, or will it make them even stronger? That's where we leave things, and I'll see you in the fourth part.